WordPress functions in blocks. You stack your blocks one on top of the other. You can move them around once you have them in place. You can create a group and put blocks within it. So you have to understand how blocks work in order for you to just get running on a page. So in this particular block, the first thing I'm going to do is select how wide it is. So if you look at the top, there are 3 little boxes, and I'm going to look at the middle box, and I'm going to choose full width. That's going to give me a cover across the page. Now I have on the right hand side the block on my sidebar, and I can see styles there. And in the block itself, I have some options. So I can go to the media library and upload something. I can click on the blue, yellow, or black dot, and I can put an overlay up. I'm going to do that. So if you want to click with me, it's the blue dot that I'm working on. And then I'm going to do one more thing here, which is to press on the blue part of the screen. You can do that with your mouse, or I'm working with a censored iPad, so I'm just touching it to get that to come up. And you'll see there are 4 boxes up at the top. I'm going to choose the replace box, and then I'm going to open my media library and choose one of these images. If you haven't uploaded, you can upload an image and then choose it. In this case, you can see that it's underneath that blue area, so that's what I want. So as soon as I have that, over on the right hand side, I can see a lot of different things show up that weren't showing up before. So you can see that I can change the dimensions on this. I can put it to 600 pixels, and that makes it wider. That's kind of cool. I can change the overlay. I can change the background opacity of that overlay, so you can see that. And then I can add in information in the title in the block where there's information. So on this one, as soon as I click on that right title, you can see there's a right title, and then I click on it. I can choose to change this from a paragraph, which is the left box, and I'm going to choose to make that a heading. That will give me a bigger font size. So I choose heading, and I'm going to go over to the right on the block and choose H1 for the biggest font size they have. And then I'm just going to type in my title. My block is done. I can add another block. I can add a block within there and get some more text, but I'm actually done with that block. I'm going to add something below it. Now I have options. I can do all of these different kinds of things here, so I can look through these and see what my options are. In my case, the most used ones that I have include a column and a group. If you want things to go together as a sort of a functioning whole and you want to copy them together, it makes sense to do something like a group. So as soon as you get the group thing, then you'll see that you need to make some choices. Again, I'm in the middle box, and I'm going to make this full width. Now I've just set up something where I can drop other blocks in, so I'm going to add in here columns to begin with. So mine are in my most used. You'll have to find yours, but you can also just type in at the top COL, and you'll get columns as your option. Again, I'm going to choose what I want to do here. I want to have middle text with some space on either side, so I'm going to choose the last one on the right. I did that incorrectly, so I'm going to come back up here to the boxes, and the third box has got 3 little dots in it. I'm just going to say remove block. Uh-oh, that doesn't remove everything, so I'm going to remove that block again. So I'm now back to my box, and I'm going to add in and say I want columns. I want 3, but I don't want to click on that button before I first choose the button up at the top in the middle that tells me that it's full width. So the middle button, I'm going to click full width, and then I'm going to choose the last button on the right. And that gives me my 3 columns in a way that I like. Right? So at this point, I can choose how wide those columns are. I can do some other moves with this, but right now I'm just going to say enough, because I'm just giving you the idea of this. I can come in here and say I want this to be a heading, and say welcome to my site, and then I might have below that another option where I make that column longer and add in information below it. You just have to kind of fuss with it to figure out how to get that to happen. But in this case, I could put in some text right here. Right, and that's the idea of grouping and then having within it columns. If I don't like this, deleting it can sometimes be a pain in the butt. So you have to come in and say, how do I remove things? And that's where you have to kind of select them in order to get them to remove. So I can do this where I'm kind of clicking around to figure out where the boxes are, but much easier for me is to just come down to the bottom and see that I've got a line of things down at the bottom. On the very left-hand side, you'll see document, group, columns, column, column heading. I don't know if you can see that, I don't know if you can see that easily, but down at the bottom you'll see those 5 words. I'm going to select to go back to group so I can delete this. So I go to group, and then I've got the whole thing highlighted, and I can just click the 3 buttons and say remove group. While I'm here though, I want you to see that if I liked this option that I had, them all collected together, I could add them to reusable blocks so I didn't have to create something twice. So I'm just going to, which is useful if you want to add in a block somewhere in the future into a page where you've already set it up in another page and you don't want to have to recreate it. So I'm going to remove the block here. I'm back to my blocks. That's the idea. So if you're someone who likes to just get started from a blank page and you don't want to use one of the templates, I would recommend at this point that you find a model of what your ideal page might look like and then try to replicate it on your own. If you don't feel confident about doing that yet, you might want to work with a couple templates first, which is where we're headed next.